Sugar addiction did not start with candy bars or soda companies. It started tens of thousands of years earlier, deep in the Stone Age, long before anyone had ever seen a factory. Long before vending machines existed, humans were already risking their lives for a sugar rush. That is not an exaggeration or a dramatic flourish. It is a documented, well-studied survival strategy. Today, we blame processed food for our sweet tooth, but the real story runs much deeper than any factory ever could. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you will understand exactly why your brain still treats sugar like buried treasure, and you might start seeing your own cravings in a completely different light. Picture a small band of hunter-gatherers moving through the woodlands of Eastern Africa, somewhere around 40,000 years ago, long before agriculture existed anywhere on Earth. Food out here is wildly unpredictable, day after day. Some days bring fresh meat and real luck. Other days bring nothing but roots, bark, and disappointment. Calories are never simply guaranteed to anyone here. They are earned through hours of walking, digging, and searching under a punishing sun. In this world, one prize stands above everything else: wild honey. A single hive can hold thousands of calories in one sitting, packed into a sticky golden payload few other foods could match. But that hive is usually guarded by African bees, hanging from a branch 30 feet above the ground. So getting it means climbing, smoking out the bees, and enduring painful stings across your arms and face. Would you risk getting swarmed just for something sweet? Early humans did it constantly, and they kept coming back for more. This behavior shows up across almost every early human population studied on nearly every continent they eventually settled. Here is the genuinely surprising part of the story. Researchers studying modern hunter-gatherer groups, like the Hadza of Tanzania, found that honey can make up around 15% of their total calories during certain seasons. 15% from one single food source, gathered at serious physical risk. To put that in modern terms, that is like getting a full day's recommended sugar from one wild food alone, gathered entirely by hand. Some Hadza hunters get stung more than 100 times a year chasing that reward, and they keep going back for more year after year. That is not carelessness. That is craving. The human brain releases a flood of dopamine the moment sugar hits the tongue. That chemical rush feels like a reward, because for most of human history, it genuinely was one of the best rewards available anywhere. Sugar meant fast, dense energy in a world where energy was never guaranteed from one week to the next. So the people who wanted it badly enough to climb, smoke, and get stung were often the ones who survived winters that others did not. In other words, your sweet tooth is not a modern flaw. It is an inherited survival tool passed down through thousands of generations. So why did evolution build us this way? The first reason simply comes down to plain scarcity. For most of human history, sugar was rare, precious, and never guaranteed to appear twice. Fruit ripened for only a few weeks a year. Honey appeared in small pockets, hidden in trees or cliffs most people never even noticed. There was no year-round supply and no aisle full of options waiting nearby. When something valuable is rare, the brain learns to chase it hard whenever it finally appears. Think of it like a slot machine that only pays out twice a year. When it finally hits, you remember that feeling for months. Compare that to a modern grocery store stocked with sugar in some form nearly every single day of the year. Early humans who felt a strong pull towards sugar ate more of it whenever it showed up. That extra fat and energy helped them survive lean seasons, sickness, and long, exhausting migrations. Meanwhile, anyone who felt lukewarm about sugar simply built less reserve and often lost the survival gamble too. Evolution does not really reward moderation at all. It rewards whatever keeps you alive long enough to have kids. And a brain wired to crave rare, high-calorie food kept a lot of people alive through hard years. But scarcity alone does not explain the full picture. There is a second layer to this story, and it is social. In many hunter-gatherer groups, honey hunting was not just about food. It was a skill, almost a badge of honor, passed from father to son. The men who could climb the highest trees and handle the angriest bees earned real status inside the group. That status often translated into better mating opportunities and stronger social standing overall. In some groups, master honey hunters were even given first pick of mates during certain seasonal gatherings, so sugar was not only a calorie source, It also became tied closely to reputation and desirability. Imagine risking 100 bee stings not just for the honey, but for the story you get to tell afterward around the fire. That mix of biological reward and social reward is a powerful combination. It pushes people toward risks they might otherwise avoid entirely, and it turns a rare treat into something worth pursuing, again and again, generation after generation. Layer that on top of dopamine, and you get a craving that is both chemical and cultural at the same time. That combination does not fade just because supermarkets replace tree climbing. Fast forward to right now, sitting wherever you are watching this. You do not need to climb a tree for something sweet. You do not need to outrun bees or wait for a specific season. Sugar sits in your kitchen, your car, and your office drawer all day, every day, without exception. The scarcity that shaped your brain for 200,000 years disappeared in about 1 century. Your biology simply never got that particular memo. It still treats every sugary snack like a rare, life-saving opportunity worth grabbing immediately. That is why one cookie so easily turns into four. Your ancient brain simply does not see abundance at all. It still sees an emergency worth grabbing right now before it disappears. Add in modern food engineering, and the mismatch gets even worse. Food companies spend millions studying exactly how much sugar triggers maximum craving without triggering nausea, in effect researchers call the bliss point. Your Stone Age wiring is now facing a lab-tested formula built specifically to exploit it. That is simply not a fair fight at all. Hundreds of millions of people worldwide now live with diet-related illnesses that barely existed a few centuries ago. No wonder rates of obesity, type 2 diabetes, and sugar-related illness have climbed so sharply in recent decades. It is not because humans suddenly got weaker. It is because the environment shifted faster than evolution could ever keep up with. Have you ever wondered why willpower alone rarely beats a craving? Now you know that craving has a 40,000-year head start on you. Here's the one myth worth clearing up right now. Most people assume sugar addiction is a purely modern invention, something cooked up by food companies in the last 50 years. That is only half of the real truth. Companies did not actually invent the craving itself. They simply found the ignition switch that was already wired deep into your brain. The craving itself is ancient, tested, and proven to keep people alive for a very long time. Here is a detail that surprises most viewers. Some honey hunting traditions are so old that rock art in places like Spain's Cuevas de la Arana shows human figures climbing vines toward beehives, painted roughly 8,000 years ago. Anthropologists have found similar honey hunting scenes preserved in rock shelters across multiple continents, not just one isolated culture. That means people were literally risking a fall to their death for something sweet long before written history existed. In parts of Africa and Asia, similar honey hunting traditions still continue today, passed down almost unchanged for generations. The tools involved have barely changed at all. The reward itself has not changed at all. What has actually changed is simply the access. You get the reward without the climb, the smoke, or the stings. That convenience feels like a win, but your brain is still running the exact same old software. It still says, grab it now, because tomorrow it might be gone forever. Except for you, tomorrow it never actually is. This particular craving did not just shape behavior, it shaped biology itself in ways most people never think about. Many primates, including early humans, evolved sharper color vision at least partly to spot ripe, sugar-rich fruit hidden among green leaves. Red and orange fruit practically glow against a forest background if your eyes can tell the difference. That is not an accident. It is a direct result of chasing sugar for millions of years, generation after generation. Tool use tells a remarkably similar story too. Early hominins who figured out how to use sticks and stones to break into beehives or dig out roots gained a real edge over their neighbors. Every clever trick for reaching sugar meant more calories, more energy, and a better shot at survival. So the next time you crave something sweet, remember that craving helped shape human eyesight and human tool use. It is woven into what makes us human, not separate from it at all. Notice how kids often love sugar far more than most adults do. That is not just a phase they grow out of. Children go through massive brain growth in their first few years of life, and that growth needs enormous amounts of energy, fast. A stronger preference for sugar as a toddler once meant faster growth and better odds of surviving a rough childhood. That preference fades a little with age, but it never fully disappears. It is one more piece of evidence that this craving is baked deep into human development, not just personal taste or willpower. So what does this actually mean for you today, scrolling past a snack aisle? It means your cravings are not a personal failure. They are an ancient survival system firing off in a world it was never designed for. Your brain itself is simply not actually broken. It is simply outdated software running inside a completely new environment. Knowing that will not make a craving disappear, but it can change how you respond to one. You can stop treating every sugar craving like a moral test and start treating it like what it actually is, an old instinct meeting a brand new world. This is not permission to eat sugar without limits, it is simply context for why the pull feels so strong in the first place. That shift alone helps some people make calmer choices around food. So here is the real story behind the first people to get addicted to sugar. It was not weakness, and it was not a modern invention. It was survival written into the brain by millions of years spent chasing something rare and valuable. Every risky climb toward a wild beehive helped shape the cravings you feel right now, sitting comfortably with unlimited access to sugar. The people who felt that pull the strongest were often the ones who lived long enough to pass it on to you. So the next time a craving hits, remember, it did not start with a factory or an advertisement. It started with someone climbing a tree, covered in smoke and stings, chasing the oldest reward humans ever knew. Would you have made that climb for a taste of something sweet? Drop your answer in the comments. And if you want more deep dives into why your brain works the way it does, subscribe for the next prehistoric fact breakdown.